What's going on, everyone? So today, the Lakers take on the Houston Rockets in LA this time. But last time, we saw what happened. Houston just completely dominated us and blew us out pretty badly. Now, we didn't have Anthony Davis in that game, and it was basically just a layup drill for the Houston Rockets. But they are a very good, talented, young team that, yes, they just lost to the Clippers, although they probably shouldn't have lost to the Clippers. That James Harden foul really changed the tides there, and they were winning by 5 with like a minute left. They absolutely should have won that game. But even with that loss, they are currently at 6-4 on the season and have been pretty good. They started off to that rough start. They were like, 0-3 on the season, and then rallied like 6 straight. So they're definitely going to be looking to hand one to the Lakers. And with this game, we got the injury report. So Anthony Davis is probable. Kind of big question of should we rest Anthony Davis for a little bit with him having his little nagging injuries? He even kind of addressed them and talked about them. But we saw what happened last time we played this team and we didn't have Anthony Davis. So probably need him for this time. So hopefully he does play this time. LeBron James and Jalen Hood-Schifino are both questionable. Obviously, it'd be great to have LeBron. LeBron's always kind of like on that questionable list. Jalen Hood-Schifino has been ramping up and is expected to return at some point. Again, I don't know how much he plays, if at all. But Maxwell Lewis, Jarred Vanderbilt, and Gabe Vincent are all out. Maxwell Lewis is on G League assignment. But Jarred Vanderbilt being out. Where in the world is Jarred Vanderbilt? We really could use Jarred Vanderbilt, right? Especially against a team like this. We got word a couple days ago that Jarred Vanderbilt is going to start ramping up and he's ready to begin his return. We don't have an official date for his return, but get a lot of people asking, when is he returning? When do I think he's going to return? When do I think he's going to make his debut for the season? Because remember, he hasn't played this year, and we only got to see him in one preseason game. He looked good in the preseason game. He even shot 2 or 3 from 3, and he missed his first 3. So outside of that, he rattled off 2 straight. But still, we definitely need Jarred Vanderbilt. His energy, his rebounding, his defense are all things the Lakers desperately need. So hopefully, obviously, he's not playing for the Rockets game. I don't believe he plays for the Jazz game on Tuesday. My hope is he comes back for that Mavs game. I would have loved for him to come back for this Rockets or Jazz game just so he had like a game or two under his belt to kind of get right and get ready, because as great as he is with energy and rebounding and defense, when it comes to the NBA, a lot of it is timing, right? So Jarred Vanderbilt, although he's not a guy that's going to have this like huge impact offensively or things like that, you still need the timing for even defensive purposes, right? To kind of get a beat on just the way guys are moving, the flow of the game, right? The foot speed of the game, all of those things. And he's a guy that, yes, he's starting to ramp up and get NBA ready, but there's a big difference between playing in scrimmages or just running in the gym or doing whatever than there is actually playing an NBA game. There's no simulation for an actual NBA game. It's in a league in and of itself. So I'd like to see Jarred Vanderbilt come back for that Jazz game, ideally, just so he has at least a game in which if he does struggle a little bit, we should be fine and be able to win. Plus, that'd be an in-season tournament game, which would be very important as well. But my guess is that they're not going to bring Jarred Vanderbilt back. 1, because I think they're going to want to give him as much time as possible. And 2, I also think because it's an in-season tournament game, right? So maybe they don't want to run the risk of him kind of messing up the flow. The Lakers are undefeated in the tournament games. But then you follow that Jazz game up with an immediate back-to-back against the Mavericks. So November, which would be Wednesday, November 22nd, is when we play the Dallas Mavericks. So my hope is that that's when he plays. Like, he doesn't play for the Jazz game, but he does come back and play for the Mavericks game. We could really use him, especially for Luka and Kyrie, to have Jarred Vanderbilt, and as good as Cam Reddish has been defensively, having both of those guys just kind of be able to just hound Kyrie and Luka, I think would be massive. I also don't think Jarred Vanderbilt starts right away, right? Like, I do want him to be a starter. Like, I personally think Cam Reddish has shown enough that he deserves to be in the starting unit. I think the starters should be D'Angelo Russell, Cam Reddish, Jarred Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. But my guess is that they don't just throw him right into the starting unit immediately. My guess is that Darvin Ham kind of brings him off the bench, lets him get, maybe some limited minutes, kind of pick and choose his spots, and then allow him to get a handful of games under his belt before we throw him back into the starting unit. But after this Rockets game, again, you got the Jazz, but then you have the Mavericks, the Cavs, the Sixers, and then you have the Pistons, who I think we should beat, and then the Thunder. So once we get through that Jazz game, 4 out of our next 5 to round out the month are against very good teams, and teams that we definitely could use Jarred Vanderbilt for. Again, as I mentioned with the Mavericks, the Cavs got Donovan Mitchell to be able to throw Jarred Vanderbilt on Donovan Mitchell. Also Darius Garland. If you wanted to, you could throw like a Cam Reddish on Darius Garland. That could be huge. That could help a lot. Kind of slow those two down. Play the Sixers, right? They got a ton of depth. Tyrese Maxey. It'd be nice to be able to throw Jarred Vanderbilt on Maxey because he's just been, torching the league this year and just looks really good. And that's where Jarred Vanderbilt lies the most, right? His defense, his ability to slow down and just get into the jersey of many of these elite players. We've seen what he's done to guys like Steph Curry and just making him work and making things so difficult and challenging for him. Guys like, Anthony Edwards. I mean, he was, every time we played the Timberwolves, even in the play-in game, right? Jarred Vanderbilt was making him work. It was making him work hard and was just, he wasn't able to do as much and be as effective and as impactful. And then playing the Thunder with like SGA, it'd be nice to have Jarred Vanderbilt to throw on SGA and kind of try to slow him down. And then we could even throw, Cam Reddish on maybe a Dort, right? Like that would be great. I'm hoping that I'm hoping he doesn't like ride out the month, right? Because they could look at it as like, hey, we're in a good spot, right? Let's let Jarred Vanderbilt take his time getting back. Same thing with like Gabe Vincent, because Gabe Vincent, we got the news that he's out for at least 2 more weeks. So he's very likely out for at least probably till the middle of December is my guess. We'll see. Hopefully he comes back sooner. But Jarred Vanderbilt, I'm aiming for that Mavs game. I'm aiming for November 22nd for his return. Because we desperately need his defense, his rebounding, and his energy. Again, Jarred Vanderbilt isn't the cure-all. He's not a guy that's going to come in and all of a sudden the Lakers are the best team in the league. But he is a guy that will definitely change a lot for the Lakers. Because, again, Lakers struggling rebounding. He helps. So if he can get 7 rebounds a game, guess what? That's 7 rebounds that we might not be getting otherwise. Especially with as poor as the Lakers have rebounded the basketball defensively. Right? Last year, we went from literally the middle of the pack to number 1 defense in the league as soon as we added Jarred Vanderbilt. I mean, instantly. It was crazy. And then you see what Cam Reddish is doing, and like you could already see just the excitement for what this team could look like on the defensive side with Cam Reddish and Jarred Vanderbilt just patrolling the perimeter. And then you have Anthony Davis protecting the paint. Like, dude, that defense is going to be A1. And then when we get Gabe Vincent back, especially if they can start hitting shots, man, again, good luck trying to score on this team. But still, like, also beyond the defense, is energy. Energy is contagious, right? If you see him and Cam Reddish just running all over the place and, just doing everything they can to lock down guys and just giving us that 110% moment by moment, minute by minute, it's hard to not want to match that level. It's hard to not want to pick up to that level. And if you have him and Cam Reddish, then that starts getting LeBron going. Like we saw Cam Reddish, right? Made an immediate impact. All of a sudden, LeBron starts going. Like everyone just starts clicking. We have a solid lead, and we just never look back, right? That's the kind of things that Jarred Vanderbilt can bring. The offensive side is the real concern, right? His shooting. Is he going to be able to shoot the basketball reasonably? So he worked like a madman all offseason on his three-point shot. And I'm hoping that he's continued to do that during this rehab time and during him trying to ramp up and get back. Because, if he's just kind of been resting and sitting around for the last month, then there's the concern that you lose that work that you put in on the shooting side, right? Because it's about the reps, it's about the muscle memory, things like that, right? Like if you've ever hooped and you take a week, even a couple days off, right? You go back to shoot and stuff, and it's just it's like you've never played basketball for a day in your life, right? So I'm hoping that Jarred Vanderbilt has continued to work and continued to just develop that shot. We don't really have a sample size. If we're going off of what he shot last year, I mean, he's arguably our worst offensive player on the team. But I'm hoping that he gives us at least, I don't need him to be elite, right? I don't need him to necessarily be 40%. If he can, that'd be beautiful, right? Because then, how do you take that guy off the court? But realistically, if he could be around 35, 36%, which is basically league average, that's perfect. He is so good and so impactful on the defensive side. It does so many other things that as long as he's league average, he deserves plenty of minutes on the basketball court. But again, we had the one preseason game. He did shoot 66%, which is great, but it's hard to know with just that sample size. I'm hoping that his hands are better, right? Because last year we saw how many times did he just make a beautiful cut? Because he's tucked away in the corner. The defender completely forgets about him. He goes and makes a backdoor cut, and boom, delivered pass, and he fumbles it, or he just doesn't catch it right, goes up and misses the shot or whatever. I'm hoping he's worked on his hands, catching the basketball. I'd also like to see him kind of develop a little bit better of a dribble, right? Because we saw him last year, he'd get a rebound and just go. But if he could kind of just have a little more control, because he didn't look super comfortable. He could go coast to coast. We saw him do it on several times. But it wasn't super comfortable. It's a little awkward. So I'm hoping that those were things that we saw him work on this offseason, and I'm hoping that translates into this upcoming season, because Jarred Vanderbilt could impact this Lakers team a ton. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? When do you think Jarred Vanderbilt will be back? I just, again, kind of want to make this video because I get a lot of people ask me, when do I think Jarred Vanderbilt will be back? My guess, probably that Mavs game. If not, probably that Cavs game. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate you. See you all in the next one.